Requirements and Roles by Chris Bias, Sarah Alshire, Taylor Totten, and Mariah Booth. A quick overview of the presidency of the United States may seem complicated. Upon further inspection, it is very complicated. However, it can be broken down into three main sections. Those are presidential roles, formal qualifications, and the presidential term. There are 8 presidential roles. The first is Chief of State. The Chief of State is the ceremonial head of the United States government and also represents all of the nation's people. President William Howard Taft described it as the personal embodiment and representation of their dignity and majesty. The second role is Chief Executive. The Constitution gives the President executive power over the United States. This power is broad across foreign and domestic affairs. The American presidency is often described as the most powerful office in the world. Next is Chief Administrator, which means Director of the Executive Branch. The President runs the largest governmental machine ever. The President's administration employs 2.8 million civilians and spends almost $3.8 trillion every year. The President is the main architect of U.S. foreign policy. He or she acts as the nation's spokesperson to the rest of the world. This job is also called the Chief Diplomat. President Truman said that he makes foreign policy. The most well-known job of the President is Commander-in-Chief. The President is in charge of the nation's armed forces, and he also has direct and immediate control. However, the Constitution gives Congress significant authority with foreign affairs and the military, but the President is dominant over both. The next job of the President is called Chief Legislator. This means that the President is the main author of the nation's public policies. Most of the time, the President sets congressional agenda. The President and Congress don't always get along, because the President can belong to one party when Congress can be a majority of the opposing party. Speaking of parties, the President is considered the chief of party. He or she is the leader of the political party that controls the executive branch. The last role of the President is chief citizen. The President is expected to represent all of the people in America. He or she is also expected to take into consideration the interests of all the nation's people. Any average Joe can be president. Joe has to be a natural-born U.S. citizen. A person born abroad to American parents is considered to be an American citizen. Joe also has to be 35 years old. The youngest president ever elected was John F. Kennedy, and he was elected in 1961 at the age of 43. Finally, Joe has to have been a resident within the United States for 14 years. The framers of the Constitution debated a number of different presidential term lengths, but they settled on a single 4-year term. There was no limit on the number of terms a president could serve until 1951, when the states ratified the Second Amendment, which set a 2-term limit. The only president to serve more than 2 terms was Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he served 3 terms. Once in office, the president is assigned a set salary. In 1789, the president made $25,000, but now he makes $400,000. This number was set by Congress in 1999. Congress also provides the president with a $50,000 annual expense allowance. The president cannot have any other jobs while in office. In addition to pay, the president is given the White House, a 132-room mansion on an 18.3-acre estate in Washington, D.C., a staff of Secret Service agents to protect him, a fleet of vehicles, Camp David in Maryland, and the best medical, dental, and overall health care, and many other countless benefits. So now that you know what it takes to be the president, you're ready to run. Thanks for watching.